Can you believe he still has no idea? 3 kids, all yours, and he's still paying for their private school. That voice. Her voice. Lauren. My wife. I froze on the stairs, one hand gripping the mahogany rail like it was the only thing keeping me from collapsing. It was just past midnight on Thanksgiving Eve, and I had come down to grab the pie I forgot to take out of the car. I never expected to hear that. The worst part? She laughed. A sharp, smug laugh, like this whole thing was a joke. I leaned closer, careful not to make a sound. The voice on the other end of the phone was a man's. Deep. Confident. Probably the same bastard I once shook hands with at our daughter's soccer game. Baby, I told you, I'd take care of it. He's so wrapped around your finger it's embarrassing. Hell, even his mom helped us cover our tracks. You're untouchable. My mother. My own mother knew? My stomach turned. Something in me died in that moment. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I didn't even breathe. I just listened, frozen in time. Tell me again how he still thinks Liam is his. The guy chuckled. Lauren dropped her voice and said, because he's an idiot. Because I fake it. Because I pretend. That was it. That was the last straw. I turned and walked out the front door. I didn't take the pie. I didn't even take a jacket. I sat in my truck the whole damn night, staring at nothing. My phone buzzed. A text from my mother. MOM, don't do anything stupid. Think of the kids. I didn't reply. Instead, I drove 2 hours to a lab the next morning and handed over 3 toothbrushes. Liam's. Ava's. Jonas. I had collected them over the last month. I don't even know why. Some sick instinct. I added mine to the box. Paid extra for express. While the turkey was roasting back home, I sat in a cheap motel watching old reruns of Judge Judy, waiting for an email. It came at 2:47 p.m. I knew before I opened it. Still, I clicked. Still, I read. Still, I died a little more. Conclusion. Probability of paternity 0%. For all 3. That night, I came home with a smile. Not a fake one, a real, cold, calculated one. Dinner was already on the table. My wife were red. Always red on holidays. She said it made her feel powerful. She had no idea. Everyone was seated. My mother. My fake kids. Her smug, lying self. I stood up to carve the turkey, then paused. I forgot something, I said. I walked to the kitchen, opened my bag, and pulled out 3 envelopes. I came back in, placed each one neatly on a dinner plate, like a second course, and sat down. What's this? Lauren asked, her brow furrowing. I didn't answer. She opened hers. Silence. Then, her face drained. She tried to speak, but no sound came out. My mother opened hers next. Her hand flew to her mouth. Is this some kind of joke? Lauren whispered. I leaned forward, elbows on the table, stared right into her soul, and said, No, Lauren, this is Thanksgiving. She stood up, shaking. You can't just leave. What about the kids? What about their future? I laughed. Not hard. Not maniacally. Just defeated. Oh, now you care about the kids' future? Maybe you should ask your lover to pay for private school now. Or better yet, get a job. She screamed at me then. A tantrum. Called me names. Called him a real man. I didn't flinch. I walked out the door, left the house, the car, the furniture, all of it. Vanished. I rebuilt everything from the ground up. It took 10 years. I came back with a new name, a new life, and 9 zeros in my account. And last week, I saw Lauren again. At the grocery store. She didn't recognize me. Not until I said, I don't have change for your kids, sweetheart. Maybe call their real dad. Her face turned ghost white. She stood there holding a dented can of beans. Her boyfriend came limping down the aisle with a beer belly and a dead stare. Me? I was wearing a suit that cost more than their car. Some things don't need revenge. Some things just are. I should have seen it coming. Looking back, the red flags weren't just waving, they were on fire. Lauren wasn't even subtle about it. It started with little things. Like how she suddenly hated cuddling at night. Said it made her sweaty and claustrophobic. Funny, because she used to curl up into my chest like I was the only safe place in the world. Then came the locked phone. Before, she'd leave it anywhere, on the counter, bathroom sink, even in the car. Now, she wouldn't take a piss without it in her hand like it was her newborn child. One night, I walked into the kitchen, and she slammed her laptop shut like it had caught fire. What was that? I asked, trying not to sound suspicious. Work stuff, she snapped. You wouldn't understand. Lauren was a school counselor. What kind of work stuff required her to Google best hotels near Lakewood at midnight? She also stopped arguing with me. At first, I thought maybe she was maturing, growing emotionally. But no, she just stopped caring. Didn't react when I was late. Didn't notice when I forgot her birthday dinner reservation. She was mentally checked out, and I was too blind to see it. Then came the perfume. That perfume I never bought. A spicy, floral scent that clung to her coat and neck like fingerprints. When I asked her about it, she said her friend Heather gave it to her. Heather, who lived in Oregon. Another night, I picked up her phone while it was ringing. It was saved as Carla, work. I answered. Silence. Then click. 5 minutes later, Lauren ran into the room pale-faced and out of breath. Did you answer my phone? She asked. Yeah. Carla hung up. She gave a tight smile. Oh, weird. I'll call her back. She didn't. After that, the excuses became her second language. Her car broke down 4 times in a month. She had girls' nights that lasted until 4 a.m. She started doing yoga but never came back sore or sweaty. And yet, I stayed. I made breakfast. I kissed her forehead every morning. I believed. Because sometimes it's easier to lie to yourself than face the earthquake coming straight for your chest. But the moment that cracked me completely happened on a Sunday. I'd taken Liam to soccer, and when we came back, the garage was open. Inside, Lauren stood way too close to a man. Tall, clean-cut, wearing cologne I'd smelled once in our bedsheets but couldn't place. I watched them through the window. She laughed, touched his shoulder. That laugh, it was the one she used to save for me. When they noticed me, she jumped back like she'd seen a ghost. This is Marcus, she blurted. He's just helping me with a school fundraiser. Marcus smiled at me. Smiled like he already won. I nodded and said nothing. That night, I didn't ask questions. I sat on the couch, stared at the family photos on the wall, and felt like a stranger in my own home. 3 days later, I started collecting DNA. Hair, toothbrushes, stray socks. And I waited. The night before Thanksgiving, I got my confirmation in stereo, her voice on that call, mocking me like I was the family's unpaid babysitter. I used to think betrayal came with screaming, fists through walls, or dramatic tears. But it doesn't. It comes quietly, like frost on your windshield, spreading slowly, until you can't see where you're going anymore. And she knew exactly where she was going. 2 days after Thanksgiving, I came back to the house one last time. Not because I wanted closure. I'd already buried whatever love I had for Lauren, but because I needed to hear it from her lips. I needed her to lie to my face. One final insult to finish the masterpiece of betrayal she'd painted all over our life. I walked in like I owned the place, even though technically I still did. Lauren was sitting at the kitchen island, scrolling on her phone with a glass of white wine. She looked up, surprised but not scared. That alone told me everything. She still thought she had control. Back so soon, she said with a smirk, not even pretending to play nice. Thought you'd run off crying to your mommy. I stared at her. Funny, considering my mom was the one helping you lie to me for over a decade. The smirk faltered. I know, Lauren, I said. I know about Marcus. I know about the kids. I know they're not mine. She blinked. Once. Then took a slow sip of her wine. DNA doesn't change what kind of man you are, Blake. That was her opening line. DNA doesn't change what kind of man you are. Like I was supposed to be proud of raising another man's kids while she played house with her lover behind my back. I laughed, not because it was funny, but because it was absurd. You lied to me for 13 years. Do you even know who their father is? She rolled her eyes. They're yours, emotionally. What does biology matter? You think kids need DNA to love someone? I don't know, Lauren. You tell me. You seem to think your love needed Marcus's. What? Bank account? Abs? Bedroom tricks? That hit her. She stood up, fire in her eyes. Don't you dare talk to me like that. You weren't present, Blake. You were working all the time. You cared more about meetings and promotions than me. You mean while I was working to pay for your lifestyle? Your spa days, your fake friends, your Louis Vuitton diaper bags? While he was giving you the one thing I didn't, attention. You're damn right, she snapped. He made me feel alive again. I stared at her. So you repay me by letting me believe I'm the father of kids who aren't mine. By letting me build a life on a foundation made of your lies. You think you're a saint, she said, voice rising. You think because you bought groceries and fixed the sink, you were a hero? You were boring, Blake. Predictable. Safe. And I got tired of safe. That was it. No apology. No shame. She wasn't even sorry. I stepped closer. So when you asked me for money last week for school fees, were you actually planning to use it on Marcus? For another hotel weekend? She didn't answer. Just stared at me with narrowed eyes. You're not leaving me broke, Blake. I have 3 kids to take care of. I shook my head slowly. They're not my kids, Lauren. That's Marcus's job now. Or maybe someone else's. Hell, take a number. Might be a few more out there. That's when she threw the wine glass. It smashed against the wall inches from my head. She screamed, "You selfish piece of..." I didn't flinch. Just walked to the door and said, "Enjoy the mess, Lauren. You created it." She ran after me, barefoot on cold tile, yelling, "You can't leave me with nothing. You think you're rich now? You're still that scared little man who begged me to go out with him." I paused, turned around, and smiled. You're right. I was that man. But now, I'm the guy who disappeared with everything and didn't leave crumbs. I left her standing there, surrounded by the ruins of her own drama. And I never looked back. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I didn't punch walls or drink myself into oblivion. I drove. Miles and hours passed like fog on the windshield. I didn't even know where I was going, just away. Away from that house, away from Lauren's voice in my head, away from those kids who weren't mine but still called me Dad. The worst part wasn't the betrayal. It wasn't the years of lies or the fact that my own mother helped her pull it off. The worst part was me. How I missed it. How I accepted the distance, the cold kisses, the late nights out. I let it happen. I pulled over at a gas station just outside the state line and sat on the curb like some lost teenager. I stared at my hands like they belonged to someone else. These hands fed them, bathed them, picked up the pieces of broken toys and scraped knees. And now they felt empty. That night, I checked into a motel under a fake name. Jack Riley. I don't know why I chose that. Maybe because Jack sounded tougher than Blake. Blake was the fool. Jack had nothing to lose. Sleep didn't come. I lay there, eyes wide, watching the ceiling fan spin like it was mocking me. At 4:13 a.m., I made a decision. I wasn't going back. Not to the house. Not to the life. Everything I'd built was on quicksand, and I was done pretending it was stable ground. I opened my laptop and started selling everything. Stocks, accounts, property. I emptied retirement funds, canceled college savings. I left just enough in a joint account so she wouldn't call the cops. Then I logged into a dormant account, one I hadn't touched since college. A separate investment portfolio I'd created as a backup, just in case life ever really kicked me in the teeth. Guess what? Life did. And I was ready. I bought one-way tickets. Sold the car. Disconnected every number she had for me. Even my mother got blocked. I became a ghost. But not just any ghost, one with purpose. I wasn't running. I was reloading. In 6 months, I had tripled my savings through crypto, timing the market better than I ever had in my 9-to-5 years. I moved from one small town to another, kept my head down, read more books than I had in the last 10 years, and learned business, psychology, marketing, real estate, and how to spot a liar from a mile away. For the first time in years, I was alone, and it felt like breathing underwater after finally breaking the surface. Lauren tried to reach me. Dozens of emails came flooding in. The first one was tearful. I was stupid. I'm sorry. I didn't mean for it to go this far. Please come home. Then came the angry ones. You coward. You abandoned your family. They still need you. And finally, the desperate ones. Liam needs braces. Ava is getting bullied. Jonah wants to see you. Please, just send something. I didn't answer any of them. Not because I didn't feel anything, but because I felt everything, and I knew if I opened that door again, I'd never shut it. Instead, I turned the storm inside me into fuel. I started a company, then another, then bought out a competitor just to prove I could. By year 3, I'd become the silent owner of 3 logistics firms, 2 software startups, and a property group in Texas. The man who once couldn't sleep in his own house now had homes in 5 cities, and not one of them had room for betrayal. I wasn't Blake anymore. I was Jack Riley now. And Jack had one rule: never trust anyone who starts a sentence with, "I swear." It happened at the grocery store, of all places. Not some dramatic courtroom, not a high-end gala, not even a funeral. Just a regular Saturday afternoon in the canned goods aisle of a dusty Safeway on the edge of town. I wasn't supposed to be there. I had a meeting cancel last minute, and something inside me pulled me toward that store. Maybe it was instinct. Maybe fate. Maybe I just wanted to see what the ruins of my old life looked like up close. I was reaching for a can of black beans when I heard it, that voice. Tired. Slower. still sharp around the edges. Jonah, put that down. We can't afford extra snacks today. I froze. Lauren. She was standing 20 feet away. Hair pulled back into a messy ponytail, bags under her eyes, the once flawless skin she pampered now dull and pale. No makeup. No sparkle. Just a woman who looked like she'd aged 20 years and 5. And next to her? Marcus. Or what was left of Marcus. Beer belly. Limp in his right leg. The kind of guy who gave up a long time ago but still wore those wannabe alpha sunglasses on his head like a crown. He was pushing a half-empty cart and looked like he was doing it under protest. I could have turned and walked away. I should have. But something dark bubbled up in me. Something that had been waiting years for this moment. I waited until they walked past me. Jonah trailed behind them, eyes on his shoes. The same kid I used to teach how to ride a bike. The same kid I used to think was mine. Lauren didn't even notice me at first. But then I said, casually, "Still buying beans on discount? Must be tough." She turned, confused. And then, her face shifted. That moment will stay with me until I die. Her eyes widened. Her mouth opened slightly, just a breath of disbelief escaping. She knew. She knew. Even if I looked different, leaner, sharper, dressed in a jacket that cost more than her rent, she knew. "Blake?" She whispered, like the word burned. I smiled, slow and cruel. "Nah, I go by Jack now. Blake died. You remember him, right? He used to make breakfast for your kids, pay for your lover's gas." She stepped forward, face pale. "Wait, what are you doing here? Where have you been?" "We thought." "Dead?" I finished. "Yeah, that was the idea. Easier to disappear than to keep playing house in your twisted little drama." Marcus narrowed his eyes. "Who the hell is this?" Lauren didn't answer. Just stood there shaking. Her mouth moved, but no sound came out. I turned to Marcus. "You remember me, don't you? I'm the guy who raised your kids, paid their tuition, covered your mess." He stepped forward, puffing his chest like a peacock with half its feathers missing. "You need to back off, man." I laughed. "Or what? You'll limp toward me aggressively? Go ahead, Marcus. Take a swing. Let's see if you've still got anything left." He didn't. Lauren grabbed his arm. "Stop," she hissed. I looked at her one last time. "I came here for lentils. Didn't expect to find poverty and karma on the same aisle." She opened her mouth. Maybe to beg. Maybe to curse. I don't know. I didn't wait to find out. As I walked away, Jonah looked up at me. His eyes were confused, maybe a little scared. And for the briefest moment, I almost felt something break again. But then I remembered that phone call. Her voice laughing. Her lies. My mother's betrayal. The 3 toothbrushes. And I kept walking. No words. No explanations. Just a ghost passing through the past. I didn't expect to hear from her. Not after everything. But the day after the grocery store face-off, my phone buzzed with a number I hadn't seen in 10 years. Mom. I let it ring. Once. Twice. I could have ignored it. I should have. But there was something about that name on my screen, that quiet betrayal wrapped in a soft, maternal tone that I needed to face. I answered. Didn't say a word. "Blake." Her voice cracked. "It's me." Silence. She waited, then whispered, "Are you okay?" I almost laughed. Was I okay? After she helped lie to me for over a decade? After she knew those kids weren't mine and still told me to be a man and hold the family together? "You don't get to ask that," I finally said. "You lost that right when you picked her." "I didn't pick anyone," she said quickly. "I was protecting the family." "No, Mom. You were protecting her. You knew the truth and let me raise kids that weren't mine. You let me look like a fool. You held my hand at the hospital when Ava was born and told me she had my eyes, and you knew she didn't." She started crying. The soft kind. The one meant to make me feel guilty. "It used to work. Not anymore. I thought she'd come clean," she sobbed. "I thought, maybe you'd forgive her. That she'd stop. So you gave her more time to dig the knife in deeper." I took a breath. My hands were shaking. "You know what that makes you, Mom? Not just a liar, but an accomplice." She didn't speak. Just breathed heavy into the receiver. "Do you even know what that did to me?" I couldn't sleep for months. I thought I was the reason she was distant. I thought maybe if I tried harder, she'd come back to me. While you both sat there and watched me break. "She said you were happy." She said a lot of things, didn't she? I snapped. "Tell me, Mom, was it worth it? Was your precious daughter-in-law worth burning your own son for?" She sobbed harder now, trying to form words. "I didn't know it would go that far." "Don't lie to me." "Not again." There was a long pause. Then she said something I didn't expect. She left Marcus. He walked out 2 years ago. Took everything. She's been struggling ever since. Good, I said without hesitation. Maybe now she knows what it feels like to be left in the ashes. She's been trying to reach you. I don't care. She wants to apologize. Too late. My voice was calm, like ice. But inside, I could still feel it, that final thread snapping loose. This was the last connection. The final piece of the old life still trying to drag me back. Blake, please. Don't shut me out forever. I'm still your mother. No, I said quietly. You were my mother. Now you're just a woman who stood on the wrong side of history. I hung up, blocked the number. That night, I poured myself a drink and sat by the window of my penthouse. The skyline glowed with the kind of silence only the rich can afford. I didn't feel peace. Not yet. But for the first time in 10 years, I felt distance, like the wound had finally scabbed over. And once that scab hardens, I'll tear it off myself. It was bound to happen. I knew it the second she saw me at the grocery store. She'd come crawling back. 2 weeks later, I found her. Or rather, she found me. Standing outside my office building in Midtown, wearing a beige coat 2 sizes too big and heels that had seen better years. Her makeup was smudged like she'd tried to cover the past, but forgot its stains deeper than foundation ever could. Blake. I stepped out of my car, nodded to my driver, and kept walking. Didn't slow down. Didn't speak. But she chased me. Please. Just a minute. She grabbed my arm. Security moved, but I raised a hand. I looked at her. Really looked. She was thinner. Hair darker, probably dyed in a kitchen sink. Cheekbones sharper. That youthful glow gone. It was almost poetic. The same woman who once turned heads in every room now looked like a ghost of her own arrogance. You've made your point, she said, voice trembling. You're rich. You're powerful. You're living the life. I raised an eyebrow. And you're not. She flinched. I came to say I'm sorry, she said. I was stupid. I was selfish. I ruined everything. True. She blinked, caught off guard by the bluntness. Then, like clockwork, the crocodile tears came out. I thought you were gone forever, she sniffled. When I saw you in that store, it was like seeing a ghost. Good, I said coldly. Because I am a ghost. The man you married is dead. You killed him slowly over 13 years with every lie, every late-night phone call, every time you looked me in the eye and told me you loved me, with his kids under my roof. Her mouth trembled. I didn't mean to. Stop, I cut her off. Don't you dare insult me with that line. You meant every choice, every hotel room, every call, every time you let me hold a child that wasn't mine and smile like it was some inside joke. I paid for it, she whispered. Marcus left. He took everything. I lost the house, the car. I'm working 2 jobs now. You want sympathy? I sneered. Sell that to someone who didn't spend a decade funding your fantasy life. She stepped closer. I'm not asking for money. I swear. I miss you. I let out a dry laugh. No, Lauren. You miss the version of me who didn't know the truth. The one you could manipulate. The fool. You don't miss me. You miss what I used to give you. Her lip quivered. Do you ever think about the kids? I stepped into her space, dropped my voice. I think about how I tucked them in while you were getting touched by another man. I think about how they're walking around thinking a liar is their hero. And I think about how, one day, they'll learn what you did. She stepped back like I'd slapped her. You really hate me that much? I shrugged. No, I don't feel hate. I don't feel anything for you anymore. Then I leaned closer. But if you think for 1 second you can claw your way back into my life because you saw a suit and a building with my name on it, you're more delusional than I thought. I turned to leave. Blake, she called after me. You can't erase everything. You loved me once. I looked back just once. Yeah, and I used to love Santa Claus too. I walked through the lobby without looking back. Her reflection faded in the glass behind me. And for the first time in years, I felt nothing but clarity. I used to think betrayal was the worst thing that could happen to a man. It's not. The worst thing? Letting betrayal define you. You see, after Lauren walked back into my life, or tried to, I didn't feel the rage I expected. I didn't want to scream or destroy something. I just felt free. Because when a person shows you who they are, and you finally believe them, there's peace in that clarity. I moved on. Not with another woman. Not yet. With myself. For the first time in over a decade, I was living for me. I traveled without having to report back to someone who didn't care where I went. I built businesses not to provide for a family that wasn't mine, but because I wanted to. I looked in the mirror and didn't see a victim. I saw a man who lost everything fake and found something real, himself. People started asking about my story, how I disappeared, how I came back richer, colder, smarter. I never gave them the full version. Not until now. And if there's a man reading this who's ever looked at his partner and felt that gut punch of doubt, that little whisper in the back of his head, something's wrong, then hear me clearly. Trust your instincts. We've been trained to ignore them, to be strong, to keep the peace, to fix the problem. But sometimes, the problem isn't yours to fix. Sometimes, you're the one being bled dry. I used to think love meant sacrifice. And sure, it does. But it doesn't mean self-destruction. It doesn't mean killing yourself slowly so someone else can live a lie more comfortably. Lauren taught me that. And oddly, I'm thankful. Not because of what she did, but because of what it forced me to become. A man with boundaries. A man with power. A man who doesn't beg for love, who commands respect. The truth is, some people don't want a partner. They want a host. And once they've taken enough, your time, your money, your soul, they'll find a new one. So to every man who's giving his all to a woman who only gives back half, stop. Pull back. Watch her. Not with suspicion, with awareness. Is she your peace or your poison? Because if she's the latter, don't waste a decade like I did. Walk. Run if you have to. Burn the bridge and don't leave breadcrumbs. Let her feel what it's like to lose something real. Let her stand in a grocery store one day, holding dented beans and broken dreams, while you walk by in silence, dressed in success, dripping with indifference. And most of all, let yourself be the comeback story. Not for revenge, but because it's the best middle finger you'll ever raise. I've lived it. I've survived it. And I've thrived beyond it. So no, I don't hate Lauren anymore. She's just another chapter. But I'm the whole damn book.